It's the 1st of November. Ukraine Media Center Ukrinform continues its operation. My name is Svetlana Cheparenko, and now we will be talking about the launch of a project to prepare communities for veterans' return to civil life. So let me introduce our speakers today. It's Olga Halchenko, International Renaissance Foundation, Oksana Kolyada, Place of Opportunities NGO, and Igor Abramyuk, All-Ukrainian Association of Communities. Good afternoon. So first of all, can you please tell us what is the number of veterans we're talking about now? We understand that their number is growing every day. They're coming back from the front lines and they need to be reintegrated back into civil life. So how their number will increase and how can we characterize this new social group emerging in our society? Thank you very much. Let me start. We deal with Veterans Affairs for a long time. We analyze information and data. Obviously, there is no open data regarding the number of those in the front lines, so we use either verified data of a little bit older age. On this slide, we can see 672,000 veterans as of the January 2022, so they are the veterans existing on the register, added to the register. But according to the information analyzed from the open sources that dates back even older, there is a number of 1 to 2 million who are currently in the front lines. And there is also data from the Ministry of Veterans. The minister was saying that shortly we are about to be dealing with about 5 million of beneficiaries of veterans policies, but that takes into account both their families and not only those in the front lines. Now there is a project launched to support the reintegration of veterans. Can you please tell us about this project, how it will be useful for the communities? Well, look, let me start with a couple of slides for those who are watching us online. Maybe it will be better to demonstrate those slides for better understanding why it's important. So the veterans are coming back to their communities, to their labor collectives. So community is the first place where hundreds of thousands of people will return to. It's not going to happen within short term, but it will have a large scale. We have those numbers of people currently in the front lines, and they're coming back within pretty short terms. We haven't seen such demobilization since the times of World War II. And even in Great Britain, there were the biggest numbers of those who were demobilized. The demobilization was going on for 2, 3, 4 years, and they were accompanied by collapsing of different systems of healthcare, education system, financial system. Plus, they created tension in the societies, which resulted in strikes and other negative phenomena. So this project is dedicated to preparation of communities now. So they're ready for the return of the veterans. They're ready to support their families who currently reside in those communities. So talking about strategic goals, the importance for the community is in the fact that the support of the veterans is the issue of national security, including on the level of the communities, because those people should be always ready to get back in ranks. Those are the realities of our lives. However, in compliance with the international standards, the successful reintegration of veterans happens only when they don't come back to the army. So it's not the situation we can live in given the neighbor. We have to develop the policies to deter the neighbor, deter the aggressor. We obviously are supposed to use the new technologies, but we need people. We need to have them reintegrated, renew them in terms of their health, and thus we could ensure the national security as a country as a whole, security of a country as a whole. So it's national level for the communities is the economic development. We need to break the myth, the stereotypes that the veterans are a vulnerable category of population that only needs social assistance and support. Because when we communicate with the heads of the communities, we hear that like, oh, what I'm gonna do, we have doctors, we have teachers, but the veterans are coming back, so we need funding to support them too. So we need to change that thinking so that the heads of the communities see those people as the prospects of economic growth. Those are the people that got skills and professions before they got in the ranks of the army. Now there's a lot of people in the front lines with different professions. I don't know, policemen, IT specialists, CEOs of companies, owners of businesses, and those people are getting back from the war even stronger with new knowledge. So economic development as the basis of veterans policy on the regional level. And third is the change of our identity, creation of our new culture as a nation of warriors, of defenders. So it's important to develop that too through the program of glorification, programs of support, commemoration, proper commemoration of the perished heroes. So for the national level and for the level of the communities, this is a very important issue. Thank you very much, Mr. Igor. Let me ask you a question about the importance of this project for the communities. Why the communities should undertake this responsibility to reintegrate the veterans back into civil lives? Thank you for this question. Thank you for having me here as a partner in implementation of this project. Thank you for your interest in this topic. Yesterday, when my colleagues were presenting the concept of the national veterans policy, I've realized that our association should take care of the policies that still do not exist. So we're dealing with the rural policies, which does not exist on a national level. And it turns out that the veterans policy, in the sense of a consistent policy, does not exist on the national level either. So we're in the beginning of formulating this policy, and for us as the Association of Communities, it's important to be a part of this process because we have our levers of influence on the politicians through the consultations, through the interaction with the parliament, with the government, and we also have our members, about 900 local governments, 2/3 of all Ukrainian communities, and we can develop any scenarios in coordination with them. And now we understand that the topic of veterans is becoming one of the key topics, and it will be either a burden on the communities or it will be used by the communities as, no matter what it looks like, but as an additional resource, as Ms. Oksana has mentioned, because the veterans, they are not a problem. They are a part of the population that have to get what they deserve, but they can give back even more to their communities. So as I've mentioned, since there is no consistent veterans policy, we try to coordinate it with the colleagues and to enter this process. I mean, the space of opportunities works with this for years already, so we should build this policy from the bottom level through successful practices of the communities that are picked for participation in the project. And through those successful practices, through development of good tools for work with the veterans, we should find recommendations and advocacy of those recommendations regarding the national policy, legislation, programs, support programs. So something that government should be focused on after we make sure it works in the communities, because not all of the things that the government offers works in the communities. We know it. This is why such approach that we are going to try in this project, it, in our opinion, is more perspective from the point of view of efficiency and saving the costs of the communities and of the state as well. Ms. Olga, why did the Vedrozhina Foundation decided to support this project? Why do you deem it as important for the country? A couple of words about the history. Vedrozhina Foundation has an experience of supporting veterans since 90s. We work in Ukraine more than 30 years when there was a huge of demobilization of the remnants of the Soviet army in Ukraine. There was a set of the problems with the people who were demobilized outside of military institutions, and they had to be reintegrated back into society. And after 2014 we started realizing that this topic is becoming pressing for Vedrozhina again. As it was said, it was deemed not a problem but an opportunity, and started from the years 14-15 we started cautious projects related to rehabilitation, reintegration of the veterans, related to veterans businesses, and obviously the full-scale invasion uncovered those facts that we should get more engaged in this work, more engaged in veterans affairs. And now the program started working in the foundation, the civil resilience, which focuses on the active servicemen, on veterans, their family members. Let's not forget about the families of the perished heroes, of the prisoners of war, of those missing in action. So this is one of the priority areas of work of the foundation, because we, like our colleagues have mentioned, are the moving force of our country. Is the opportunities, is the development on the level of communities, on the level of, on the national level, the agent of changes who have tremendous experience, who expressed tremendous bravery, courage during the critical moment for the state. And of course they have something to say about the future of this state, and we want to make sure that they have an opportunity to formulate the future so that they can develop themselves and can develop the environment around them. And of course it's not only the national level but the level of communities as well. We are conscious of the fact that the veterans are coming back not to an imaginary Ukraine, but they're coming back to specific communities, to their communities, their villages, their cities, their regional capitals, their regional centers. And this is where they will renew, flourish, work, get new knowledge, new opportunities, new skills, and develop the environment around them. So now we have this opportunity to support this large-scale project, because starting with the last year 22, we have a Ukrainian democracy fund launched by our founder George Soros right after the beginning of the full-scale invasion, and it's aimed at development of the civil society in Ukraine, including veterans community. Thank you very much, Ms. Oksana. Getting back to the topic of the project, well, obviously it's not a project that is implemented within a day or two, maybe even more than a year. It's a very protracted process. So how do you see the implementation of this project? What roadmaps, what algorithms do you have for communities as an organization which implements the project? Well, in coordination with our partners from the foundation, we picked 10 communities. It was a difficult process for us. 10 communities we will be working with, because there was a lot of competitors, but there were many communities we wanted to support, but we agreed it with the association that it's important for us to try this project in different communities which are, well, in a different geography, different communities in terms of size, but it's important for us so to have the small communities so that we can scale up this project further on. I'll show you the map a little bit later. I'll show the communities that we've picked. So it's a long project, it's a long-term project. It includes a research component. We research the communities, we studied them, the number of veterans, existing programs, the veterans' families, like who are the stakeholders in the community who work with the veterans affairs. So it's a huge database with its developed methodology. A training component contemplates our missions to the communities, strategic work with the strategy development in coordination with the heads of the communities, but we don't only limit ourselves with the members of the local government teams. We are going to invite businesses existing in the community, representatives of the different sectors and areas, so we can talk how reintegration of veterans may influence the community in general. Also, we contemplate the joint training of the heads of the communities. I believe in this case of the heads of the communities, because they are respected, reputed persons in their communities. If they have all the knowledge about any aid, if they have knowledge about financial, economic reintegration, medical treatment, and so on and so forth, that will be an important thing. And we will produce the programs for every single community, because they are all unique. There are unique input data, but there will be a framework that we will scale up for all of the communities, spreading information. So the 10 communities on a very profound level, then 20 communities in detail, and then 500 communities over which we share this experience. So what is the term of the project, of this pilot project? So we're talking about the pilot project. So how long will it continue, and what are the criteria for expansion and continuation? Well, the project will be on for 1 year. Talking about efficiency, I can talk hours and hours about it, because for me it's a super thing that I would like to see. First of all, it's victory, beginning of demobilization, and we would like to have the programs in place by that time in the communities, which would contemplate all of the aspects of reintegration and components of this reintegration, because there is a period of readaptation when people need to have their basic needs covered, so they renew, and we proceed to the process of reintegration, which contemplates social and economic reintegration, so those people have all the opportunities to get back to their normal lives. Thank you, Mr. Igor. You're having a remark, for what I understand. Well, I just wanted to add to what Ms. Oksana has mentioned. We've touched upon our component here, and we hope that shortly we will have another presentation during which we will present our project that will be very closely related to the project to which we are a part in the space of opportunities. So we really want to share this information with the largest number of communities possible, and we want to train the biggest number of specialists possible. And this is where we are going to try to orient at heads of the communities. But you know, forcing them is not acceptable. And for example, if a community says that we want an official from the administrative support center to deal with the Veterans Affairs, we will have nothing on contrary. So we want to inform the heads of the communities. We are going to try to hold a number of events, like face-to-face, to inform the leaders of the communities, to train the specialists. And talking about the selection of communities, yes, it was a very difficult process. I appreciate the fact that our colleagues listened to our advice. We've listened to their advice regarding their experience of cooperation with the communities, and we've selected those communities for a reason. One of the heads of the communities is currently in the front lines, Oleg Gorbatyuk. He is a part of 10th Edelweiss Brigade, and another head of the community was recently demobilized. So we have communities with a proactive leaders with understanding of veterans affairs, with the desire to work with that topic and to work on development of those models that could be further on multiplied and scaled up. We have 10 communities, and the total number of communities in Ukraine is 1,470, and without occupied territories it's 1,438, and we will inform all of the local governments to provide them with all developed tools so that they are able to efficiently work with the veterans. And just like Ms. Oksana, we all hope that the demobilization is going to happen shortly. The project should not take long. We have to do things quite quickly. Thank you very much, Ms. Olga. Do you have anything to add? Yes, regarding the results and the efficiency, for us it's important to have this big reintegration project in the communities. It's important for us that it's implemented by two different agencies which are different but they complement each other. The Union of Ukrainian Communities on one hand and a research organization with their expertise, because in fact if we talk about 10 or 20 communities per year, given the fact that the total number is more than 1,000, well, it seems like it's not a big number. But if we multiply it with the partnership with the Ukrainian Association of Communities, they can share this experience with the hundreds of communities. So it's a completely different scale. It's a quantum leap from 10-20 communities to 1,000 communities. It will be a very serious result for us. Ms. Oksana, I think that we should describe the framework of the project, how it will be implemented, in what areas. Well, what I have to emphasize that is the pilot project with the Association of Communities. However, we work with the communities for a long time through coalition of veteran spaces, which is supported by the foundation as well. So we have 23 organizations in our coalition, and one of the communities which participates in this project is the city of Bila Tserkva, and the municipal council of Bila Tserkva voted for establishment of the veteran space. It's wonderful. It will be a part of our project, our program. And talking about KPI, we're talking about the capabilities of the communities. It's important to understand here that in a perfect world, when a reintegration program is formulated, they are based on a very detailed databases about the people for whom they are formulated. Currently, we don't have such an opportunity because the majority of those who are coming back, whom we expect to come back, are currently at the front line. So we have to build the capacity of the communities, and we know that the capable community is the community which can ensure the renewal of health, both physical and psychological. It's about rehabilitation, renewal of psychological health through psychological support, psychosocial support. It's the reintegration of a social and economic nature, reorientation, requalification, employment, and national and patriotic education, all of the commemoration programs. And if we analyze all those components, all those needs that we need to cover, the most pressing issue is the training of specialists, of all of the specialists working in different areas, providing services to the veterans. They should be trained to do that properly. It's about infrastructure, accessibility, and barrier-free space, because we can reintegrate people but they can stay at home if those barriers exist. Is the preparation of the work environment, preparation of the labor collectives, of the employers for return of the veterans, the training of the specialists, training of the and preparation of the labor collective, of the workplace, if the veterans are, for example, disabled, so the workspaces should be designed specifically for them. Those people who come back, they will be united in their communities, and they should have legal support, work with their families, like those functions and services like support in opening business, and they will be standardized services for all of the communities. And it's important to have those communication platforms in all of the communities. Management tools in the state, we don't have enough resource to declare everything in the world. We have to find out the needs of every single person and to cover those needs rather than promise and not support it on the budget side. So this micromanagement is important in all spheres, either in employment or social sphere. So it will be of key nature. It will be a part of this project. And obviously, a matter of glorification, of commemoration, building of this system, standardized system, is a part of the community's capacity. Thank you very much. Let's give our journalist an opportunity to ask the questions. Well, if we have no questions, I would like to thank our guests. I'm reminding you that within the main discussion platform Brain Hub, we were discussing the project to prepare communities for the veterans' return to civil life. Ukraine Media Center Ukraine Forum will continue our operation tomorrow. We're building up the schedule for tomorrow, so stay tuned.